Hello, my friends. How are you? I wrote this song. We'll start off with the basics. Go ahead, but please just pace it. Let's take the major scale, break it down. We'll start with 1.
We will name it tonic.
2.
Name the supertonic. 3
3.
goes by the median, while
4
is called subdominant.
5
is called the dominant.
6
we call submedian.
7
we call it leading tone, which takes us to the octave, which is 1. I know how this scale inside out. Between 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 lies a step. Heaven 3, 4, and 7, 8 are very simple. The half step between them keeps them nimble. The formula is whole, whole, half, whole, whole, half. Just start off with the white keys of the piano.
Alright, so let's talk about some music theory and ear training techniques that you can use on your own productions to help improve your workflow. In Western music theory, we have what's called the 12-tone equal temperament system, and that's what we're going to be using to build our major scale from. So in order to build a major scale, we have to take those 12 notes and condense them down to 7 using a series of whole steps and half steps between each note. We're going to use the C major scale for this, as it uses all the white keys on the piano, making it really simple to visualize. And we're going to refer to every note from C to C as a number. So instead of C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And an interval is the distance between two notes, just so that we're on the same space. So between 1 and 2, you have a whole step. Between 2 and 3, you have a whole step, as you can see by the black key between D and E. But once you get to 3 and 4, there is no black key between E and F, so we call that a half step. If we keep moving on, 4 to 5, whole step. 5 to 6, whole step. 6 to 7, whole step. And then 7 to 8, or 1, because it's the same letter, we have a half step between them, as there is no black key between B and C. As you notice, we're using Arabic numerals for this because Roman numerals are going to be used for chord types. So we can take those 7 notes now, and we can actually skip every other note to create different chords based off of whatever note that we're starting on. So if we make a chord based off of our 1, which is our tonic, we have a major chord. If we create a chord based off of the 2, which is the supertonic, we have what's called a minor 2 chord. If we keep going on to 3, which is the mediant, we have another minor 3 chord. Moving on to the 4 chord, that's the subtonic, and that is a major 4 chord. Now the 5 chord is a little bit different because I wrote that with 4 notes. The 5-7 chord in a lot of pop music is consistent of 4 notes instead of a triad, which is just 3 notes. And this one's called the dominant. Moving on to the 6th chord, we have the submediant, so that makes that the minor 6. And lastly, we have the leading tone, which is on our last chord. And this is a kind of a weird chord because it consists of only minor thirds being stacked on each other, and this is what we call a diminished chord. From those basic triads, we can actually add extensions to these chords by skipping more notes. So instead of just skipping from 1 to 3 to 5 and making your basic triad, we can go up to the 7 like the 5 chord did. We can go up to the 9, we can go up to the 11 and the 13. The first type of chord that we're going to be talking about is just your major 7 chord, and that consists of your 1, your 3, your 5, and your 7. So in the key of C, you have C, E, G, and B. Up next, we have the dominant 7 chord, and in that chord we have a C, E, G, and B flat. So that's 1, 3, 5, flat 7. And just as a quick refresher, flat means to go down a half step, sharp means to go up a half step. Now we're going to be moving on to the minor 7 chord, and this is still following that same trend. We have a 1, a 5, and a flat 7, but now we have a flat 3 as well. So C, E flat, G, B flat. Next, we have a minor 7 flat 5 or a half diminished 7 chord. And this chord consists of your 1, your flat 3, your flat 5 like the name suggests, and a flat 7. So you have C, E flat, G flat, B flat. And the last chord that I'll kind of mention here is a fully diminished 7 chord, and it's the same thing as a half diminished, except the 7th is flatted twice. So instead of C, E flat, G flat, B flat, we have C, E flat, G flat, B double flat. These are really common in what we call lead sheets. More common in jazz lead sheets because jazz lead sheets have a lot more dense harmony, but if you encounter pop music with more simple progressions, you'll usually just encounter a lot of triads and maybe a 5-7 chord here and there. A little side note that you can do also to get more scales and more chords is you can go off of the modes of the major scale, which, just to simplify it, if you start on any other note in the major scale, so in the key of C, if you start on D and go from D up to D, but using the notes in the key of C, you're going to have a completely different mode, a different sound. It's all the same notes though, but it's just a different color, different quality. And I've attached below a little PDF with all the modes that you can have, all in C, so you can kind of see how they're broken down. The last thing that I want to talk about is a little bit more abstract because this is ear training, so everything is sonic rather than visual. If you can understand how to hear intervals, you'll kind of unlock more freedom for your ears when you're creating your own songs, your own beats, whatever you want. A great way to start is using intervallic ear training, and that's just simply going off of 2 notes and figuring out what the interval between them is. We're going to be doing ascending intervals for this. The first interval is unison, and that's the same note, same octave. It can be on a different instrument, that's fine, but as long as it's the same note, same octave. And a song that we can use for this is El Sonidito, which if you've played Grand Theft Auto 5, you've definitely heard that song many, many, many times. Up next is the minor 2nd, which is just 1 half step up from the root, and you can think of the Jaws theme to help you remember this one. Next we have the major 2nd, which is 2 half steps up, and the song that you can think of for this one is Frère Jacques. The minor 3rd is up next, and for this we go up 3 half steps, and a good use of this is the song Mad World, as it uses the minor 3rd often. Brightening things up, we have the major 3rd, and we go up 4 half steps with this one, and the song I like to use in this is Sir Duke. Up next we have the perfect 4th, which is 5 half steps up. The typical one is Here Comes the Bride. This next one has 3 names, but you can really just remember tritone. And the tritone consists of 6 half steps up from the root. It's a little bit unsteady, a little bit uneasy sounding. The song that I like to use for this one is The Simpsons theme. The perfect 5th is coming up next, and this one consists of 7 half steps up. We use the Star Wars theme to get this one into people's ears. Up next is the minor 6th, which is 8 half steps up from the root, and for this one we use that saxophone lick from Baker Street. Up next we have the major 6. This one is 9 half steps up, and the most popular use of this one is the NBC jingle. The minor 7th is up next, and this one has 10 half steps up from the root, and you can think of this one as Can't Stop by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, that bass line. Alright, second to last, we have the major 7, which is 11 half steps up, and this one is the chorus from Take On Me. Last but not least, we have the octave, which is 12 notes up from the root, and the best one to think about this one is Somewhere Over the Rainbow, those first 2 notes. So that concludes the lesson, but what I want you to do now is go to your keyboard, guitar, whatever instrument you may find, go online for a free synth instrument, and start working on your intervals. Work on building every scale based off of that major scale formula. If you know what key you're in, you can basically figure out with your ear training what chords are happening in the background, what scale you can use. Start off easy, just start off with the bass C major. Get to know all of the chords in C major, the intervals in between, and start transposing it. It's not going to be easy, but I guarantee that if you put in the work, you will start seeing results. Alright, that's it. See you guys.